and welcome to Joy of Books with me, Miss Joy. Today's offering is the British classic For Zachariah by Robert C. O'Brien. Released in 1974 and totaling 276 pages, the book is a post-apocalyptic science fiction novel. Sharing his views on the book today is author and teacher T.C. So T.C., tell us about this famous book.
Yes, you're right, Miss Joy. It is quite a famous book. It's written in the first person from the perspective of a 16-year-old character by the name of Anne Burden. And she has survived a nuclear war and a nerve gas attack. How did she do this? Well, she and her family were living in this kind of small valley in America, and it had this kind of isolated, what they call a microclimate. So the nerve gas didn't affect that tiny area of land, and she was able to survive along with her family. Now, her family actually went on these expeditions, but on one of these they failed to return, ultimately leaving her alone from the start of the novel. So this is where we pick up the book. So she sees smoke, and the first 5 chapters kind of focus upon this idea of seeing something that maybe she hasn't seen in the months that she's been alone in this area. Now, for me, it's just a little bit slow going, this particular book. And like, as I've said there, the idea of 5 chapters kind of building up to seeing this smoke, to the smoke getting nearer, to obviously meeting this other character, just a little bit slow going. The other character is this kind of scientist, this character called John Loomis, and he appears in this kind of rubber safe suit, the only safe suit that exists to his knowledge. And she watches him from this cave which overlooks the property, this kind of farm property that she resides at. She actually watches him swimming in this water which she knows to be radioactive, so she kind of feels a bit of guilt as we go through the novel in that she didn't warn him. But of course it is an apocalypse, isn't it? She doesn't know who to trust, who's safe and who isn't. And as a 16-year-old gal, obviously she wanted to be more safe than sorry. She kind of nurses him back to health, and he has these kind of nightmares and blurting out this name of this Edward character, this other scientist, and we learn that he had killed this person because he was worried that he was going to go out in the suit and his old suit would be lost forever. He's not a nice character, this John Loomis. He starts to boss Anne around. He's bullying her, or what we would call nowadays coercive behaviour, belittling her in areas. And he actually leads to this scene, which is a little bit bluntly written, where he enters her bedroom, and of course the illusion would be that he would be about to attempt to assault her. After this, she leaves. She suggests that they share the valley, but it's clear that's not going to happen. He kind of wants her to be his helper, or for want of a better word, a slave. She's fearful of this, and that this kind of power struggle continues through the bulk of the central part of the novel. So I quite like that bit, the idea of the paranoia in the gal's mind, and the kind of unknowing of the scientist, if you like. And you have this kind of nature-loving Anne living off the land against this, what you might call the pragmatist, the scientist, and this power struggle really kind of comes across. But like I say, it's just a bit slow going, despite what you would say is very engaging subject matter. There's quite lengthy descriptions, for example, about farm equipment and farming. I mean, again, maybe that's because of when the book was released. I don't know if it was the early 70s where it was a prominent kind of farming era, but certainly the author has kind of done his research on that. But for a modern reader, it's a little bit too wordy, some of those descriptions. Also talks about the disruptive nature of science, okay, and the scientist is the living embodiment of that, of course. You have this interesting idea, really, that Anne Burden has the potential to be a really strong, independent female character, but where it kind of fails is that she doesn't really grow, I don't think. she leaves her home instead of fighting for what's hers, if you like. Spoiler alert, she departs at the end, despite not really knowing where she's going. Again, it just felt like she hadn't really grown as a character, unless I've missed the point there at the end. Maybe that is her coming of age at the end, where she takes the suit and kind of leaves the scientist alone. But I wasn't too sure. In my opinion, it's a great idea for a book, and no doubt it's a great idea for a book. It in itself, it's influenced many different genres, such as like we look at zombie films nowadays, like The Walking Dead. You can see a lot of that lifted from this book. So it's certainly not disparage the book. It just felt for me that lovely idea, and I was really looking forward to the book because I'd heard so much about it. I knew that it was a classic text, but I just felt to me it's a little bit poorly executed. Honestly, I think you could have taken 40 pages out and you still would have had a very, very readable book, to be fair. I did look a lot at that ending, like I say, but I just did not get the point of it. I don't know if, is the reader rooting for her to leave? Is the reader rooting for her to kill the scientist? If nobody is, then what was the point of those, I don't know, whatever it was, 270 odd pages? It's that was my issue, really. Now, whenever I read a book, I always make up my own mind, of course, but then I go and have a research, ask other people if they've read it, what they think of it. I would say that I noticed that there are very different ratings depending on whether you go on an American site or a European site, especially in the UK. I believe in America, this book is a study text in English for 8th graders. So I might be wrong on that. So I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments. But if that is the case, it could be that it's people look back with that, they go through rose-tinted spectacles at this book, thinking that it's better than it was. I don't know, maybe because they were a child then, free from responsibility, and they associate that book with that. I don't know, but there's no doubt about the ratings on the US websites are much higher than for UK websites. So maybe it's something that is culturally is more appealing to American readers, perhaps. But like I say, for me, it was just a little bit disappointing because I really love those apocalyptic thrillers, especially post-pandemic or even during it. We were living through that kind of time, and for me, my expectations were so high, and it just didn't quite live up to it. This book.
It sounds like this was a little bit hit and miss, TC. Z for Zachariah by Robert C. O'Brien is, of course, still available from all good book outlets. Thank you for joining me, and please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, Joy of Books.